Hi, I'm Jonathan. I don't make YouTube videos where I show my face, but today I'm making the exception because I really like this M40. But before I start talking about the M40, I just wanted to share a quick story about a set I was on last year. I was on set shooting at 24 frames per second. At some point I had to switch over to 60 frames per second, and in doing so I lost light exposure. We didn't have small enough lights to bring into this tight hallway that I was working in, so we never got the shot. We didn't get the 60 frames per second shot, which we needed for slow motion. So the next day I went out and I looked for as many small lights as I could, mostly pocket lights or on-camera lights. I bought a few pocket lights. They were the Aputure MC, the Nanlite Lito, the Generay Bicolor, a Nanlite tube, a 6-inch tube, and a Godox M1. So about a month and a half ago, I got this notification from Amazon. It was a flash sale on the Zhiyun M40 Fiveray. So I got them the next day, I charged them, I turned them on, and holy God, they were bright. They are super bright pocket lights. 40 watts of light output. Yeah, it really is that bright. Comparing the M40 to my other pocket lights is not fair. Just on light output alone, it's just not fair. Light put isn't the most important thing, obviously, but it is. But it's not, right? Because other pocket lights offer a few different things that the M40 just doesn't have. So between the M40 and the Godox M1, the Godox M1 is an RGB light. It is bright, and it has some pretty cool features. It has like this fire mode, it has explosion mode, television mode, I believe also, which are really handy. But is it anywhere near as powerful as the M40? No. But the M40 is not an RGB light, and it doesn't have any cool features. So just keep that in mind. The M40 has a range, a Kelvin range of 2700 to 6200 Kelvin, I believe. Also, that the Nanlite Lito light, that's another great light. Produces a very nice light, a nice white light at 5600. It's also RGB, has some cool features along with the Godox M1. They're both great lights. I just don't like the diffusion mechanism. It's like this weird rubber thing that goes over the light, so I'm not a big fan of that. I also compared my M40 to my Aputure MC, which is one of my favorite pocket lights. It was my first pocket light I think I purchased. You know, comparing these two pocket lights, it's really hard, right? The Aputure MC is not gonna light up a room the way an M40 will. The Aputure, it has a beautiful RGB spectrum. The Aputure has a wonderful app. I mean, the app for the Aputure MC is fantastic. I'm using it right now to power my key light, my backlight, my hair light. I can use it to power everything. So that's one of the drawbacks of the M40 is that it doesn't have an app to control it. So when you have more than one and you don't have direct access to the light and you want to make some changes to it, you're gonna have to physically go to the light and make those changes. Also, with the Nanlite tube light, I believe it's a 6-inch light, that one is not as bright as my M40. I believe if you're watching the video I posted comparing the M40 and the Nanlite tube, when the lights are at 100%, the tube doesn't even seem like it's turned on. But the tube has a very different form factor. So keep that in mind. It's going to be able to do the things that the M40 can't do. And again, the Nanlite tube is RGB. It's also magnetic. Then I compared my M40 to my favorite on-camera light or pocket light, and that's the Generay Bicolor. I don't know the model number. I'll include it in the graphic in the video. But the Generay is my favorite on-camera light. It's a beautiful light. It's already diffused, and the barn doors are built into it. The only drawback to it is you need a battery, and it's a bulky one. It is what it is. It's still not as bright as the M40. So after comparing all these lights, the M40 was a winner for me. in my opinion, for my uses. The light at 100% lasts half an hour, which isn't the best, but it's rare that I would use this light at 100%. So just to be clear, I'm not sponsored by Zhiyun. I need to be very open with you about the major drawback to this light, and that is its fan noise. I never cared. Good quality lights tend to be quiet, nothing outrageously loud. Let me add to that. The fan seems to have two levels of obnoxious noise. The first level is when the fan goes off after a few minutes of using the light, and it's annoying, right? Like, you can hear it. In some cases, you can probably get around it in post. The problem becomes when that second blade, or I don't know what happens in this light, and you hear that, and God, it is really loud. Things to take into consideration. This is a great light. I still recommend it for anyone. But if you're going to use the audio from your video, then I would suggest maybe not using this light. Once these fans go off and you're going to use the audio that's on set with your video, it's just gonna mess up your audio. Most of the work that I do, I shoot, film, video, and I add my audio afterwards, whether it be music, a voiceover, or whatever. So for me, the noise isn't a big deal. But if you are working in an environment where you're not going to be able to drown out the fan noise, then I wouldn't use it. If you're a journalist, if you're a wedding videographer, if you're anything that uses a camera, if you do video, this is a great light to have. Keep in mind the fan noise. The fan noise is a problem. If you don't need to keep this light at 100%, don't keep this light at 100%. Another quick tip is make sure that the ventilation in the back, you want to keep this area clear. You don't want anything to obstruct the ventilation. I think we're good here. Have a good one. Take care, and maybe you'll see me another time. And a thumbs up here from 12Y Films.